pick between Tua or pick between Zach Wilson, and you decided South Beach instead of New York.
No, Zach Wilson is a dog, but I'd rather play with the most accurate quarterback in the NFL, dog.
I have so much to say about this, and I know some people, especially people that might not be Chiefs fans or Dolphins fans, might be a little annoyed at the amount of content I made on this one situation. But it keeps on coming up with more and more updates, and it's getting to a point where it's actually starting to really bother me, because I feel like at a specific point, this isn't healthy. I understand the motivations for Tyreek Hill doing this, but at the same time, I think it's going to come at the detriment of his most important teammates. So before we get to the content, man, make sure you drop like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. We're almost at 100K followers on TikTok, so make sure you follow me at Microphone NFL if you want short versions of this content. We also post it onto my Instagram at The Flight Mike, and we're gonna run a fantasy football league with some of my Twitter followers. We're looking for a commissioner, so make sure you follow me on Twitter and favorite the tweet where I ask who's down for a fantasy football league. Now that we get all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I'm gonna admit, I feel like my last couple of videos on the Tyreek Hill situation have been relatively unorganized, mainly because it's just been everywhere lately. So let me tell you how this came to be. Because Tyreek Hill went on First Take again, and on one hand, you could say that what he's saying is very positive and he's just trying to hype up his QB, but at the same time, I think he's kind of screwing over his new quarterback. And at the same time, it seems like he's kind of conflicted in terms of whether he wants to hype up the Miami Dolphins or whether he's just expressing regret about leaving Kansas City, while at the same time doubling down on a take that literally caused him to get death threats. So here's where it all started. You guys remember back in March, the Las Vegas Raiders and Green Bay Packers broke the internet by orchestrating a trade that would send Davante Adams to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders would trade draft capital in order to reunite Davante Adams with Derek Carr, and then would proceed to pay Davante Adams a tremendous sum of money. I mean, $141.25 million over the next 5 years, and he gets to reunite with his old QB and have a good time in Las Vegas, and he doesn't have to worry about his quarterback retiring prematurely, which is apparently the reason why he left Green Bay, because Green Bay offered him the same exact amount of money. So Tyreek Hill actually addressed that this was the point that completely changed everything. So check this out. He went on First Take and said this.
Rick, if the money was closer between the two teams, yet Miami offered more, would you have stayed in Kansas City?
Oh, I probably would have been in Kansas City right now. Because like I say, dog, I'm all about legacy. I'm all about history. I believe it was just one of those situations where my agent, he's seen, Davante Adams, break the bank with, the Raiders or whatever. We got to get the Chiefs on the phone and we got to make some shake. And I told him, I was like, I don't want to break up, something special that we got here in KC. Maybe not top it, but at least get somewhere close to it. And they were nowhere close to the Davante Adams deal. It kind of broke my heart when I had to sign to Miami, but my mom, she always told me everything happens for a reason.
So Tyreek Hill pretty much said that he wanted to stay with the Kansas City Chiefs the whole time, which, to be honest, I 100% believe. It makes a lot of sense. You've had so much success in Kansas City. Yes, it was with different quarterbacks under Andy Reid, but it makes sense why you would want to stay committed to a team that took a chance on you when no one else was taking a chance on you, especially when you weren't considered to be good coming out of college into the NFL, despite them consistently not giving up on you and giving you chances with all the stuff off the field coming out about you. It makes sense that Tyreek Hill would want to stay in Kansas City. They won a Super Bowl, and if you ask me, they had more Super Bowls to win, in my opinion. But of course, the day he got traded, in his press conference, Tyreek Hill even admitted it was all about the money.
It's tough, man, but somebody comes to you with a lot of money, it changes.
So this isn't anything new, Mike. You've told us this before. Why are you bringing this up? Well, what would go down next is actually quite uplifting. lifting. Tyreek Hill is the highest paid player on his team. He's one of the highest paid players in the NFL. So it makes a lot of sense why he would automatically put himself in a leadership type role. And when Miami Dolphins marketing decided to post this video of Tua Tagovailoa underthrowing Tyreek Hill, which was brilliant marketing by the Miami Dolphins, I'll 100% admit it, Tyreek Hill wasted no time coming to Tua's defense, saying, "Can you chill or nah? We're talking about practice," while posting good footage of Tua in a montage sequence. Now, I will admit, man, back in May, people were really blowing specific things out of proportion. I mean, we remember the Traylon Burks situation. We made a video on that where people were getting on him for having asthma and his conditioning not necessarily being the best, which we could bring you guys an update on that if you guys want. Let me know in the comment section down below. We did get some word about that, but I digress. Eventually, you would see some good mini camp footage from Tua to Tyreek Hill, and things were starting to look a little bit better. But here's the thing. Tyreek Hill was also very focused on starting up his career outside of football. Very smart to do so. You don't know how long you have in the NFL. Tyreek Hill's already beaten the average lifespan that a football player would have, and he's made a ton of money doing so. So the fact that he wants to capitalize upon his fame and get into new media is very commendable and very savvy of him. So the very first interview that we got from Tyreek, and this wasn't necessarily that bad, it continues to get worse, was when he mentioned how pretty Tua's balls were. No, seriously.
Tua actually has, probably one of the prettiest balls I've ever caught in my life. So it's very catchable. I don't want to continue because the more I talk, the more it sounds weird. So Tua is a very accurate quarterback. That's all I'm gonna say.
But it gets a little bit weirder than this. Eventually, Tyreek Hill went on his podcast and probably said the most infamous thing that he said all off season long, which is that Tua is more accurate than Patrick Mahomes.
As far as accuracy wise, I'm going with Tua all day.
So which one would you rather have? The deep ball where you got to scramble around the field to try to go find it?
Nah.
You want that accuracy to hit you right in the bread basket on the run?
I want it to hit me right in the bread basket, just like I did in the Buffalo Bills game, and take it 70. And the rest is history.
And again, this is not a shot at anybody.
Right.
It's just stuff that had to be said.
It needed to be said.
It needed
so let's
to be
say it.
said.
Patrick Mahomes would respond to Tyreek Hill saying that,
"I'm surprised a little just because I feel like we love Tyreek here. We've always loved him. We still love him. I saw him out at Formula One in Miami and everything like that. But I'm sure it had something to do with trying to get his podcast some stuff and get it rolling.
And as a result, we would hear that Tyreek Hill would actually receive death threats over this.
My kids' name out y'all mouth, dog. You can talk trash to me all day. What yada yada, death threat, Mr. Cheetah, whatever you want to say to Mr. Cheetah, y'all can do that. Just keep my family off limits, man. 'Cause that's all I ask."
And you would think at this point that maybe Tyreek would take a step back. After all, this isn't only affecting him and his team, but it also could potentially be putting some pressure on Tua. I mean, after all, very recently, the last video we made about this was when Tyreek Hill went on his own podcast, It Needed to Be Said, and said that the Miami Dolphins have the same weapons as the 2019 Kansas City Chiefs, saying that 2019 offense with the Chiefs was stupid when I go out to practice each and every day. Like I said, I see the exact same team, I swear. As far explosive and as far as dynamic, we have the same weapons. And when you add Mike McDaniel into calling the plays, I know Andy Reid is great, but when you add McDaniel, it's crazy. The way he dials up plays and his play calling timing, I don't even know what to say. It's just crazy. And to be honest, that isn't necessarily that bad, but this is where it gets a little bit toxic. Because in that same podcast, Tyreek Hill also said that this is Tua's last year to show people what he's got. So I will preface this by saying that he does hype up Tua, saying it's going to be a lot of people taking their words back on what they said about Tua, including reporters, analysts, and Twitter trolls. All those people are going to take their words back on what they said about Tua. I'm going to be sitting here eating my popcorn. And I really believe that they showed that clip of Tua underthrowing me just to get people talking, because they really know what Tua is capable of, for real. And to be honest, he is kind of right. That's the main reason they probably put that out there, just to get people to talk about the Miami Dolphins. But this is where it gets bad. He said, in the NFL, they only give you 2 or 3 years to be a successful quarterback, especially if you're a first-round pick. And if you don't succeed after those years, then it's kick rocks, man. So basically, they're going to put Tua into that. So this is basically his last year, man, to just show people what he's got. And to be honest, he's right. This is Tua's last chance to show people what he's got. I mean, I think he's more destined for success than people would give him credit for, considering the fact that he's been fairly accurate throughout his career. He doesn't necessarily have a cannon of an arm, but Mike McDaniel comes from the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, and Kyle Shanahan was working with Jimmy Garoppolo for quite some time. Jimmy Garoppolo was in one of the safest offenses for his skill set. I mean, you even heard Jalen Ramsey say this, that the San Francisco 49ers were doing a lot of scheme stuff. It wasn't necessarily Jimmy Garoppolo picking teams apart. He was just in a very safe offense for himself. And this is why I think Trey Lance is going to succeed, because both Tua and Trey Lance, at the very worst case scenario, will be in a very safe offense, which could mask their deficiencies. They both have similar setups at the running back position, where they're going to run an RBC with very speedy running backs, and both teams have very fast wide receivers. The 49ers, Chiefs, and the Miami Dolphins are very similar in that regard. But here's where it gets a little bad. Tyreek Hill will go on first take on July 25th, and he would put even more pressure on Tua and double down on what he said in regards to Tua versus Patrick Mahomes. Check this out.
Once, and I'll say it again, Zach Wilson is a dog, but I'd rather play with the most accurate quarterback in the NFL.
From him so far this summer. And yeah, kind of elaborate on that statement that, made the media world go wild.
Tua, he's not your typical gunslinger, but, if you really just pay attention to his game on everything, his pinpoint, ball is on time in those other areas that, other quarterbacks may not be good at. That's all I got to say on that.
Look, man, I am all for just reaffirming your commitment to your quarterback. I'm all for supporting your quarterback. But I think at a specific point, this is getting really toxic. I mean, do you think Tua wants to hear that this is his last chance, that he is more accurate than Patrick Mahomes, that he's going to be like Dennis Rodman to Tyreek Hill's Carmen Electra? At a specific point, let's just focus on football. No, I'm not saying shut up and dribble, but I'm just saying at a specific point, this is doing a lot more harm than good. At the same time, I understand that you want to blow up your podcast and you want people to constantly talk about the Miami Dolphins now that you're there, especially because you're probably considered to be one of the captains of the Miami Dolphins. But at a specific point, man, you're doing a lot more harm than good, and this could definitely affect Tua this upcoming season. I mean, if he could handle this situation and he's poised and he could take it in stride, then obviously he is worthy of being the Miami Dolphins quarterback of the future. But if you look at Tua's career so far, man, I just feel so much empathy for the guy. I mean, you were drafted over the likes of Justin Herbert, a few picks after Joe Burrow, after the Miami Dolphins were clamoring for you, and then immediately it seemed like they're trying to move on from you. I mean, whether it was for Tom Brady, then to Deshaun Watson, which they were close to offering 3 first-round picks for this past season during the trade deadline. If Deshaun Watson would have settled his lawsuits, then Deshaun Watson would have been the quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, and it would have made a lot of sense because the Miami Dolphins had so much draft capital to give up for a QB like Deshaun Watson, but he wasn't able to settle. So as a result of that, the Dolphins decided to roll through with Tua and go with plan B, which is surround Tua, who's on a rookie scale contract with remarkable players, and just see what can get done when you get an offensive mastermind like Mike McDaniel there. I mean, on top of that, you have a potential Tom Brady free agency next offseason. There were rumors about Tom Brady trying to potentially join the Dolphins this year to be a quarterback and the part owner of the Miami Dolphins, which I'm assuming is something that he is going to attempt to do, assuming that Tom Brady goes through this season without any injuries, which I know we've seen him play throughout his career so far just okay, save for that 2008 season where he tore his ACL, but that's also something that's looming over Tua's head. There's a good chance to believe here that this could be Tua's last season as the Miami Dolphins quarterback, and to be honest, he didn't necessarily get the greatest opportunity to prove himself, unless if he absolutely balls out this year, which I think he has a good chance of doing so. I just think the pressure that everyone's putting on Tua is kind of ridiculous at this point, but that's my take on the matter. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this, man. Do you think Tyreek Hill needs to chill a little bit, or do you agree with what he's saying, and do you like what he's doing? Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.